whole UFO culture had been fueled intentionally by Pentagon disinformation that spanned decades. That's the question posed by a new Wall Street Journal story. It's reverberating throughout the UFO community tonight. The article is titled "The Pentagon Disinformation That Fueled America's UFO Mythology," and it alleges that the U.S. military knew that UFOs weren't from outer space with aliens on them, but instead spread those rumors for decades. Why? Because it helped the military hide top-secret programs they were working on from the public and from America's adversaries. For example, the military was testing a top-secret stealth fighter jet in Area 51 during the Cold War. And the Wall Street Journal claims that a colonel delivered photos of flying saucers to local businesses in the area to spread the rumor and stoke the flames of what was really going on at Area 51 was all about UFOs, all in an effort to cover up what was really happening. The Wall Street Journal also goes a step further and claims the Pentagon even lied to some of its own employees, sometimes in so-called hazing rituals. One military officer was reportedly told he would be, quote, jailed or executed if he told anyone about his briefing on a secret alien project. Both the briefing and the project were reportedly fake. UFO skeptics have suggested for years that the UFO question may tie back to Pentagon disinformation. This article raises the question of whether some of the biggest names to come forward in recent years, like Pentagon whistleblower David Grush, could have been fed some of that fake information about UFOs and top-secret UFO programs. There are lots of questions here, so let's hear from people who know this subject better than most people do. Joining me now is Ryan Graves. He's the first active-duty pilot to come forward publicly about UFO sightings. He's also the founder of Americans for Safe Space. He's also joining me is NewsNation's special correspondent Ross Coulthart, who has done a lot of reporting on this subject. Ryan, I'll start with you. You said on X this is a really one-sided piece in the Wall Street Journal. You said it does nothing to account for the near-daily reality of sightings that pilots, service members, and regular folks witness. But couldn't both be true? Couldn't you really be seeing something, and couldn't there also be this incredible, long-standing Pentagon disinformation campaign?
Well, I think that's exactly right, and that's the other side of the story. But you know, the base core presumption that this whole issue is caused from some in-briefings that were done in a hazing fashion in order to, well, I'm not really sure why, other than to potentially confuse secret technology. But that's not where this originates from. This originates from eyewitnesses that are spotting things, sometimes on the ground, often in the sky, that is very hard to explain. And whether that leads to, you know, an alien origin or something else, I don't frankly know. But the origin of this isn't a mythology that was spread across military individuals. Now, that might have been leveraged in order to take advantage of the confusion that was present from aviators and military folks that were witnessing these encounters. But no, I would disagree that they are the core progeny of this issue.
Yeah, you saw what you saw. You weren't fed some fake disinformation from somebody at the Pentagon. You saw what you saw.
Exactly, and there's thousands of instances of service members and regular people having similar experiences that can't be chalked up to simply disinformation coming from the Pentagon.
Okay.
But it does highlight a very important issue, I think, which is that if this is going on, this is basically a deception campaign against the American public, which I'm very confident that Congress is not read into.
All right, Ross, what do you make of all this, Ross?
Good evening, Elizabeth. I agree with Ryan. I think the hilarious thing about this, it's such a joke, this Wall Street Journal article, because it's effectively admitting what we've known for years, which is that there are people, gatekeepers to this secret about this legacy UAP program, who have been lying to and deceiving the American public for years. And now It's official from one of the most senior people who served as the person in charge of investigating UAPs. Put simply, his explanation makes no sense. The idea that this would just be part of a hazing ritual to try and encourage people to believe in aliens as a cover for some secret US stealth program, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. We've known for years that disinformation is being used and that UFOs are often used as cover, but that doesn't explain the first-hand witnesses who say they have seen craft and that they have direct knowledge of a UAP program.
Yeah, I guess Ryan, what I don't get is, I get that they want to keep their stealth fighter jet at Area 51 a secret. I'm not sure how spreading disinformation about UFOs accomplishes that by going to the local bars and spreading these pictures and rumors. How does that accomplish that?
I mean, perhaps that had some effect in the 50s or 60s, but I think in the modern era, they're just going to be drumming up more interest than fear. So no, I don't think it's a very effective tactic, and I frankly can't really accept that that would be a widespread implementation technique that would be used. When a secret program such as a SAT program or a top secret program is exposed, there's very clear procedures of what's done as far as reading potential people in and providing them a debrief of what they experienced so they know the procedures moving forward.
Yeah.
There's not an official policy to read people into a fake UAP program to confuse them.
Ross, the Wall Street Journal article alleges that some of the officers who fell victim to this hazing ritual, who were being fed fake information, were told that the program they were joining was called Yankee Blue, and that it was part of an effort to reverse engineer technology on the craft. I gotta be honest, this sounds a lot like what David Grush told you and me in his interviews after he blew the whistle.
Look, it's quite clear, Elizabeth, that someone in the Pentagon has tailored what is quite clearly deliberate disinformation just to confuse the public. One of the other things they've done in this story that the Wall Street Journal aired without any kind of sensible investigation was claims that an electromagnetic pulse test weapon was used against an active thermonuclear missile site in 1967. And they do this to try and explain away what Bob Salas, a captain in the Air Force at the time, describes he saw, which was a missile being shut down by a UAP. And the idea that the US Air Force would sanction the use of an electromagnetic pulse to essentially test a weapon against an active thermonuclear missile, it's beyond belief. It's so ridiculous, it's absurd.
Yeah, Ryan, you think we're obviously Congress, there's a whole committee on UFOs that's been established because they're trying to investigate what the secrets are. Apparently, there will be another report coming from the Pentagon out about this disinformation campaign. This is really going to sound the alarm on that committee, what I would bet. You testified before it.
Well, I did not testify before the new task force that has been stood up, but I believe that this is going to provide them a lot of ammunition to look into some of these claims, which ideally will give them more opportunities to find people that they can speak to determine if this is true or not, and whether the American people have been deceived, even in a small part.
I don't know how you cure suspicions of deception with the revelation that there was a lot of deception. So we shall see, gentlemen. Thank you both so much, Ryan Graves, Ross Coulthart. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.